This is Mike Klubnika. You've made a lot of horror games. I think the one most people probably know you from is Buckshot Roulette, but you've done a lot of other cool stuff too.
Yes, it's very true.
What inspired you to start making games?
Yeah, so I got into games because like I was playing a lot of these weird games, like Devil Daggers and other like pretty niche games, and I thought they were super cool. And I was like making 3D models mainly in my free time. I was watching like artists like Ian Hubert was one of the artists that I followed a lot, and I sort of realized that I was getting pretty good at 3D art, but it wasn't really getting anywhere. My first goal was like to get started in like 3D as a freelancer and start making like models for games and like studios, but never really got there. And I was like, well, I want to do something. So I just started like messing around with like Unity, and I actually initially started getting into games to make money. So I remember I was like 16 years old and I got back from like a lesson in like driving school, and then I was walking home and I was like, man, I should really like start making mobile games, because mobile games have targeted ads and they make lots of money. And then it started I got home and then I actually started doing it, and then I like developed, like I had no experience making games at this point. So like downloaded Unity and looked at like a few mobile game tutorials. And then I remember like, I was at it for like 3 days, and then I woke up and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? This is not fun at all. Like, and yeah, then I like a few years passed, and then I got into game development again, but it wasn't to like make money off of targeted ads and like shovelware, but it was just like, you know, I got like a cool vision for like this game where you're in like a spaceship and there's like a whole bunch of machinery, and then there's this guy on the radio who's like talking to you. And I just figured I'll just like make it because it would be cool, like just like designing all of the different machines and writing the dialogue and then figuring out the story and just like bringing the vision to life essentially. And that like I've worked on that game for like 2 months, I think, and it was super fun. I enjoyed it a lot, and it was pretty much the only thing I thought about. I would like whenever I was like waiting in line or doing something, I would just think about like the game and what I do when I get home, and like what I would work on, and like mechanics and stuff, and then like dialogue. And also I made like some of the music for the game, which was also cool because yeah, it was just super fun. And like that's the main reason I like kept doing it, because I just enjoy the process. Because you just like you just get a cool idea, and then like eventually you realize you like get to the point in like game development where if you get an idea that is like unique and interesting and also has like enough mechanics that it could actually translate well into a video game. My point is that like eventually you get proficient enough that you can just like do it. Like there's nothing really that you can't do. Like the only thing is that it's like super time consuming. Like if you want to make an open world MMORPG, obviously like you can do it, but it will take like 30 years. Like yeah, so like yeah, I guess that's my like my final answer is I make games because I find it like super fun and interesting.
Yeah, the game you mentioned, is that what ended up turning into System Upkeep?
Yeah, that's right. That's System Upkeep. Yeah. And yeah, the thing about like System Upkeep is that it was like a free game that I put out, and I actually thought that it would like do pretty well because I thought it was super cool. Like looking back, it's not like that great, but it's actually like not that bad either. But I wasn't like there was no moment after release where I was like, oh no, the game got like 100 downloads in total after like 6 months. Is this even worth it what I'm doing? It wasn't like, that didn't like demotivate me at all. It was like, I was actually like, cool, this is like the most underground spaceship simulator video game. And I was like, let's just keep doing this. Like, yeah, it was fun.
Why did you end up making horror games?
So yeah, I finished like System Upkeep. And then after that, I made like a horror game Yeah, I made it like in 2 days, I think. This was Curiosity, Kill to Explore. And this was, I think, my first horror game. And this was like the same thing. Essentially, it was like, I got an idea for an interesting mechanic, which is that like, what if your main source is like a box of matches, and then you light a match, and then the match like extinguishes after like a few seconds, so that's like your only sort of field of view. And after that, I sort of realized that horror games are like, they're pretty good. They're a pretty good genre for like experimentation that I don't think you have in other genres that much. As a lot of the games I make, they have like most of them are kind of weird, and I feel like they're like, they have some pretty weird mechanics that you don't really find in other games. And like the horror aspect actually like is a pretty cool place to sort of mess around with that stuff. During the time when I was making System Upkeep, I was actually reading a lot of science fiction horror stuff, like some like common ones, like Stephen King's like short stories. Like one of them is actually the Jaunt, which is pretty much like a short story that was published in some magazine, and that actually ended up being like Infineral, pretty much, and some lesser known ones as well, like 9 Billion Names of God by like Arthur C. Clarke. This is a pretty old one, like 1980 or whatever. And yeah, I was just consuming lots of horror for like no reason at all. I guess it's just started like giving me lots of inspiration in like the horror genre. Another thing that sort of is important is that like the itch.io community like really supports like horror developers. It was really like a pretty cool community to just like come up with these interesting mechanics and then throw them out there for free pretty much, and you just see what people think. And it was like cool to just have like a bunch of people like playing this stuff. So yeah, part of it was the communities, like the itch.io community and also Haunted PS1, but also it was just like a lot of influence from like all sorts of like horror media pretty much. And yeah, also the like experimentation part of the genre that I think is like, there's like a lot more experimentation compared to like other genres.
You mentioned Ein Hubert earlier, and I believe you've also taken some inspiration from Seafoam Strats, aka Untitled Horror Game. Do you have any other inspirations?
Mainly inspiration is really like Adam Pipe is one of them. I think that's the name. Adam Pipe is the person who made the Spookware games on itch.io. There's also Ken Forrest. There's like a lot of people from like the main, like the itch.io community mainly, and Haunted PS1. What I like about Haunted PS1 especially and the community is that like they aren't really interested in making like commercially viable stuff. It's more like a bunch of people just getting together where the end goal is like just to make cool stuff, like the Madvent collections. Like each of the games in the Madvent collections and the launcher itself, they're usually like super weird and messed up. It's like, it's not something you'd see on like the front page of the PlayStation store or something. It's like the whole collaborations, they just have this nice vibe to them where it's like, it's nice.
You've primarily been a solo dev. Have you ever thought of making something with more people?
I actually have made stuff with more people. In terms of like the future, working together with people, in certain aspects, I most likely will, but that's mainly in terms of like music and voice acting. I feel like those are like the main things. And I might also like work with people in like designing certain things like visual stuff, because those are the things that I feel like if I give that sort of part of the creative process to another people, then it would actually work out like pretty well. Because if, for example, I would be working with like, for instance, like a programmer or a 3D artist, I feel like part of the thing is that I'm like super picky in what like the final game actually ends up looking like. I really enjoy like as much creative freedom as I possibly can, because like this is something that I've learned like from like previously working with people on Gamejams. Like, for example, we made like Film Morbid with Point Vertex, which was, I think it was like the three of us, and that actually came out like super cool. But there were parts where we got like low-key into arguments, like because we all have our like own visions that we have to like respect. It was like totally fine, but usually doing my own thing in a corner, like far away from everything, that's fine. But yeah, like you actually like, it's not that I don't enjoy working with other people, like it's actually like super fun. I was recently in the global game jam with like a narrative designer and also a musician, and that was like also super fun. So
Oh yeah, Global Game Jam is a lot of fun.
oh yeah, it's super fun. But yeah, as for like future projects, yeah, certain aspect, I'm more than welcome to work with other people because yeah, I think it's cool.
A lab run was first made for Ludum Dare, I believe.
Yeah.
What other jams have you participated in?
Oh, let me think. Okay. There's like few that I have to like remember now. Okay, so yeah, there was Ludum there. I think that was the first jam where I actually like finished something. After that, there was a mini jam where we made. Mini jam was where we initially met with like the people that are now like Point Vertex, which was the four of us, and then later we got together again in the Black and White jam, which was Film Morbid. And then I've also been to an in real life game jam, which was in Tartu. Like it was in like a university pretty much. And the most recent one that I've been to was the Global Game Jam, and that was also in like, I think it was hosted in like a hotel or something. That was also pretty cool. Usually local game jams are fun because you get to like actually get together and hang out. Best part of those is usually there's like a lot of sponsors, which means like infinite amount of energy drinks.
Yeah, I think personally I prefer in-game jams because it just feels... I feel more motivated when there's actual people I talk to instead of just the screen, you know? And I know, okay, yeah, they're here. I can actually talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, back to your horror game stuff. So, there's been quite a few video essays made about your games now. Have you watched any of them?
I watched one, which was about, I think it was about carbon steel. This was like, I think last year ago. As for the video essays, yeah, I watched a few. I actually haven't watched the pyrocynical one yet. I think that's like the biggest one. I haven't watched it yet. Because like, the reason I don't really watch them is because, I don't know, it feels weird to me. Like, I don't know. For some reason, it's just hard for me to watch videos about my own games. Because it feels like you're at like a movie theater and you're watching your own movie, like, oh yeah, this is so cool. Like, I don't know.
Speaking of feelings, the people have started making games inspired by your games. How does that feel?
Well, that feels super cool, yeah. That's like one of the biggest things that I'm like happy about. Like, because there's a lot of people like, not only because the Buckshot blew up and then a lot of people like engage with it, and there are also like taking out the other games, and I'm like super happy that like they find them inspirational, because like it's part of the reason that like I also like make the stuff in the first place, because it's like, because all of my games are also like inspired by like what our people make, like Ken Forrest and Adam Pipe, and also like even like some different artists that are not even like in game development at all. So it's cool that people like find them inspiring and like get out there and do their own stuff because something that I made. I think that's like really special and something I'm very grateful for. I think it's cool.
How did you end up deciding to make a dealer plushie?
Dealer plushie was like, I think it was a week after the release of Buckshot or something, maybe like a week and a half. And then, yeah, I just got an email from Makeship and they were like, do you want to make a plushie? And I was like, yeah, okay. Because like, there was really no good like reason not to make a plushie about the dealer. So yeah, that's why.
What is your favorite Easter egg you've put in the game?
Oh, my favorite Easter egg? Oh, this is one that I think a lot of people don't know about actually. It's like, so in system upkeep, there's the coal grabber, and then it's this machine in the spaceship, and then if you go behind it, then there's some crates, and behind the crates there's like a trophy of a guy, and that guy is actually like the character one of my first games. I just put it there as like a memoir. Yeah, I think that was pretty neat. Another sort of throwback is in unsorted VHS. If you type in like, because there's this one place where you get to put in a password. If you put in 4412, I think it will actually spawn you in a room, and then there's like a floating like CD case of like System Upkeep that's like spinning around. I think that's also pretty neat. Yeah, the funny thing about that is like the way you find the Easter egg is you like put in 4412. Somebody accidentally just put in 4412 for no reason, and then they like left a comment like, oh, am I supposed to be in this room where there's like a floating CD? Because I thought like nobody would ever find.
Yeah, I believe, was that the developer of Doghouse?
Yes, it was. That was also super funny. Like, out of all the people, it had to be like the developer of Doghouse. Yeah.
Who is the face of the doctor in Buckshot Roulette?
Good question. If I remember correctly, this is from some random image on Wikimedia Commons, I believe. Yeah. And yeah, the thing about the doctor face is like, okay, I was super confused because some person actually left a comment on like one of the videos about Buckshot, and they were like, at one of my videos, and they were like, hello, it seems there's been a misunderstanding because you've put my face in your game. And I was like, what? Are you serious? I don't know if it's actually him. Like, I told him to like send me an email to figure it out. I still haven't gotten the email. I don't know. Maybe. I hope it's cool. Yeah. I found that pretty funny.
How was the swap from Unity to Godot?
Yeah, so swapping from Unity to Godot, this was like a complete nightmare for like the first 2 weeks, I think. And I remember like, and I was super upset because like I was mad at the runtime fee, and then I was mad at Godot for being such a terrible engine. And I was like in university, I was just staring at a wall. I was like, dude, is this it? Like, but then I just like kept trying Godot. And after 2 weeks, I remember this very vividly. There was this one moment where it suddenly like everything made sense for whatever reason. And then it was just like pretty smooth sailing. So like entire switch took like 3 weeks or something until I was at like a level of proficiency that I was in like Unity. But yeah, like the first few weeks were pretty terrible. There are some things that are still like kind of weird with Godot. Yeah, it's a bit more janky than Unity, but it's pretty good. Yeah, I don't really have any big complaints.
Yeah, I think I found out when I modded Buckshot Roulette that the version you chose was even more janky than the other versions.
Yeah, I think there's like a new version out, like 4.2 or something.
Yeah, no, I think like specifically not even the 4.1 version, like the 4.1 point whatever you had.
Oh, really?
Even more janky, yeah.
Oh, why is that? What? That's weird.
Yeah, I think, I don't remember the exacts, but I remember like I was trying to do a ternary thing and it just couldn't figure out the type, even though both were the same type.
That's weird.
And apparently that was like just that one specific version.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, Buckshot is on a bit of an older engine version. Should probably upgrade, to be honest. Because I think the newer version, I think 4.2 even has like shadows for OpenGL or something. I might be wrong though. Because like I was working in 4.2 in like the Pärnu game jam in Estonia, and it was like pretty good.
Do you remember what this medal was for?
Yes. I think I got first place on game for a game jam. I don't remember the name of the game jam though. But yeah, I remember the game. It was this like gladiator fight thing, and then I got first place, and then the developer made me a trophy or a medal, and I thought that was really cool.
If you were to make a non-horror game again, what would you want to make?
I would probably make like, I guess maybe tycoon game or something. Yeah, I think that would be pretty fun. Like just with a bunch of like, just a sandboxy type of thing where you just produce something pretty much like Factorio, but like it's not automated, it's just like full manual labor. I think that would be pretty fun.
What do you think about the SCP Foundation?
I think it's pretty cool. I was actually like really into it a couple of years ago. Yeah, because some of the entries there are pretty cool, like certain SCPs. I can't remember any specific ones, or like I remember some of the SCPs, but I don't like remember the specific numbers. But I think it's pretty cool, yeah, because they have some like, pretty cool stuff. It's not just like creatures, especially like the different machines, because there's like this one machine that like takes an input and then it has an output, and it like
That's how machines usually go.
yeah, but exactly, but like this specific machine had this image in like the, how is it called, like the SCP wiki, I think. It had this image of like a million gears, like small gears under a microscope, and I thought that was like pretty creepy. Machines are pretty spooky sometimes.
Some people have theorized that some of your games share the same universe. Do you have any plans to expand the world building of your games?
Yes, some of them are connected. Generally, it's something that's like pretty detailed. There's no real like clear things that, oh, this is connected and this is also connected. It's more like just a company logo somewhere usually, or like something similar. But yeah, I feel like it really depends on what I'm making. Sometimes I get really in depth into like lore and world building, but other times it's like what interests me most about some games is just like the mechanical side of things. So then I don't really pay attention that much to like writing the story, and in that case I usually keep it like pretty simple.
What was CryoGEN going to be?
CryoGEN? Oh yeah, this is an old project. I think this was a walking simulator horror game where you played like two characters at the same time, and I don't remember what one of them did, but one of them is like the goal was to get into this underground research facility, and then there's this rocket, and then you go into the rocket and you escape Earth, because I think it was like post-apocalyptic or something. So yeah, that's CryoGEN. I think I worked on that project for like 2 months or something before I like stopped working. I found that like super weird because I've never done anything like that like since. By the way, this was like I think 2 years ago or something. Yeah. I found that super weird how like, because I put like a lot of effort into the game and then I just ditched it. I haven't done that since, because that's like terrible thing to do. But yeah, at least the game serves as a repository for good models, because that's like the main thing I did. Made a bunch of art for the game.
And do you want to someday make a longer horror game than the ones you've made so far?
I might. Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Generally, I just like it when I have like a pretty short development timeline. Most of my projects are like 2 to 3 months or something around that, and yeah, I just find it refreshing to work on new stuff without like leaving any projects in the dust. Okay, here's the thing. It's good that you brought that up, because like I actually was working on a longer horror game, like something that had a playtime of like an hour to 2 hours, and This was abandoned, but not because I lost interest or anything. This was abandoned because of the Unity runtime fee. So, because I realized that because I was like pretty early into development, I think I was a month in, and I was like, I had it scoped out to the point where I figured like development would take like 8 or 9 months, which is something I didn't do before. And I realized that I'm so early into development, I might as well just switch engines now. Sort of a project was never meant to be, sadly. Doesn't mean I won't do it again though. The funny thing is that like Buckshot Roulette, like the shotgun roulette part of the game is actually supposed to be in the game that I was talking about.
Oh, I'm curious, how would that fit into another game?
Yeah, so the big game that I had planned was mainly like, because what I do is I make like short horror games. So I figured I would just make like a longer game, which is pretty much an anthology in one way or another, but it was just like seamless. You would have these multiple locations, and each location would have this sort of objective that you had to do. And one of the objectives in this like shotgun roulette part of the game was supposed to be that you go to this arcade and you have to like get this like component from like the prize like table place, and so to get the grand prize you had to like beat the dealer in like shotgun roulette, because that makes sense. And then you would like you would just go through essentially what is Buckshot Roulette and then get the component and then like get out of there. That was pretty much it. It was just like, yeah, just like one location of the game.
How many desktoppers do you have in your desktopper folder?
Oh, let me check, because there's been more ever since. Yeah, right now there's 18 desktoppers. I actually added one more like the day before yesterday.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm about to reach 20. It's gonna be cool.
I see that some of those 0 and 1 have some have a date from 2023. You touched something in them, or?
Let me check. What did I touch in here? Oh no, I haven't touched anything inside the folder. Maybe I just renamed them or something. I'm not sure.
Possible. So you mentioned devil daggers before, but what do you think about the more surreal style of horror that's in Hyperdemon?
Okay, Hyperdemon is like super cool. That's like, yeah, I have like, I think like 370 hours in Hyperdemon, so I'm like super into the game. Yeah, I think the visuals are super cool. I wouldn't say Hyperdemon is necessarily a horror game. I guess in some ways, but it's more like arcadey, I feel like. But in terms of like the actual monster designs and everything else, it's super cool. Yeah, it's super cool. Especially, spoiler alert, but like the boss fight pretty much looks like a fractal almost. It essentially looks like a biblically accurate like angel. It's super weird. And I think it's like really creepy. Yeah. I think abstract horror is like pretty cool.
What's your record in Hyperdemon?
My record in Hyperdemon is 406. I'm currently 30 on the leaderboard.
Oh wow!
I'm making my way up slowly.
Yeah. What was it like being interviewed by Polygon?
It was cool. Yeah. It wasn't actually like it was like text mainly, I guess. It wasn't like what we're doing now. But yeah, I think it's cool to be interviewed by like one of the largest like game journalists. Yeah, I think it's pretty like cool. Not probably 2 years ago, if I had known that I'm gonna be in a Polygon interview, I would be like, that's pretty messed up.
And lastly, the question that I think most people are excited to hear: when are you releasing a sequel to Burger Adventures?
Burger Adventures sequel, probably like 2000 and like 2040 is gonna be the sequel. Yeah, that's my final answer.
Can you explain what the Burger Adventure is to those who don't know?
Oh yeah, so Burger Adventures is a... I don't know, have you seen gameplay of the game? Or have you seen like the screenshot?
I think just screenshot.
Yeah, okay, so I don't think there's actually any gameplay of it publicly available, so I'm just gonna explain. Oh, yeah, pretty much it's just a burger, and then what you do is you get to this... Basically, you navigate a bunch of platforms, jump around, and then eventually you get to McDonald's joint, and then what you have to do is you have to like snipe one of the evil fries. So like going across the screen, and then you like shoot the fries, and then the game ends and it says to be continued. And so yeah, that's like pretty much the lore of Burger Adventures.
And that was all my questions. Do you have any last words?
No, not really. Except for I guess thanks for taking the time to do the interview. Yeah.
Thank you too. It was a very fun interview.
Yes.